Hi students, I am going to go through your first exam. Keep in mind this exam is more of a review on what you remember from last year. Some very important points were missed, and I just kind of want to remind everybody and make sure you go through those first chapters of that ICD-10 CMPCS handbook. Okay, so for question was one, everyone did well. Keep in mind the exam that I'm going through was from a student last year. It's not anybody in the class right now. So if I went to diabetes and then I went down to retinopathy, my code is going to be E11.319. Okay. All right. So the next one here, I'm going to go through that one. Everyone did well on that. The answer was A02.21. Question 3, I do want to talk about right here, keyword inpatient. Okay. So I have probable acute peptic ulcer with nausea and vomiting and abdominal pain. Remember one thing, when it's inpatient, I can code the acute peptic ulcer, and that's the only code that I want. Okay, because the nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain are integral to our diagnosis. Okay, so we only want code K27.3. Now, if this was outpatient, I wouldn't be coding the peptic ulcer, I'd be coding the symptoms. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, acute and chronic cystitis. This one here, it's N30.20, so disregard. I'll go in and make that change. So the answer should have been N30.0 and N30.20. Remember, this goes back to the rules of acute and chronic. So if I type in, look up cystitis, system's a little slow. It's all about the indentation level. So once again, it's all about the indentation level, acute and chronic. So if I look here, I go down to acute. If I go down to chronic, they're both at the same indentation level. That means I code them both, and I am going to have acute as the first code. So it should be N30.00, N30.20. There should have been another 0 here, so I guess that student last year had an extra half a point. Okay, so let's go on here. Everyone did pretty good here. Everything is usually chronic unless it states. So my biggest thing here, I want to go to hypertrophy. Some of you went into, not saying you went into tonsillitis and adenoiditis. That's not what we have here. So don't put words in there you don't need. So you just want to go with the basic adenoids with tonsils, J35.3. Pull the code book over. Okay, that's exactly what you want. Now here, if it was with the tonsillitis and adenoiditis, a few of you had the J35.03. We just want this code right here. Okay, go ahead and move down to the next one. This one was pretty good. I'm not going to run through this one. Upper acute respiratory infection with influenza. Calculus with cholecystitis. This should have been K80.40. So if I go into, remember this one kind of takes you all over. So you're going to go to cholecystitis with calculus. We know that was in the bile duct. That's where I'm going to go. Okay, and right there it takes me down to K80.40. Right. This one here wasn't a big deal. I needed to code the underweight, and then I also needed to code the BMI, body mass index. Okay, this one here, we have acute appendicitis, and it was ruled out. So once it's ruled out, we do not code it. So the only code that we're going to do at this time is the diverticulum. So it should have been Q43.0. This one here, we have foot pain, especially in the morning, plantar fasciitis. Another thing here, foot pain is a sign or symptom of plantar fasciitis, so we do not code it. We only want one code here. A lot of you put two codes. Again, these are things that we learned last year at the beginning of the semester. Okay. This one here was pretty good. Everyone did well. You did have 0.39. I did okay it. This one was good too. Okay, same thing. Acute and chronic salpingopheritis. One thing to remember, they're at the same indentation level, so I need both codes. Both codes need to be put down or coded. This one here was good. The biggest thing I was looking for students is to make sure they look far enough into their index to get that 7-digit A. Okay, this one here, hemiplegia due to an old CVA. I put in so basically what I wanted to do is following a cerebrovascular disease. Some of you had I69.359 and I was okay with that too. Okay. Heart failure with acute pulmonary edema. So I wanted to put in failure, heart. Pull up here in a second. Okay, with acute pulmonary edema, C failure, ventricular. Okay. And I50.1. Now, once I click over here, remember, we always need to look everything up in the tabular too. And I should have been doing that as I went through these, but just remember that's something you need to do. Okay, so I have I50.1. Now look at these excludes. Edema in the left lung without heart disease, then you would have coded that. But keep in mind, we do have heart failure. So you're not going to code these J81 codes too. You only need the I50.1 code. All right, so this one was, everyone did good on this. With this one, if you didn't get it, it's just you didn't look enough. So let's go ahead and run through that real quick. So if I have hernia, I'm going to go right to renal. Okay, see how direct is a non-essential modifier? It's right in there. I'm going to go down to with gangrene, and it's recurrent. So it should be K40.41. That's when you just need to look far enough. The rest of these, everybody did well. Okay, so here's the deal. Go ahead when you are done listening to my video. Send me an email or you can inbox me right up here and let me know something you learned from this video. After that, I will give you an extra point on your exam. So, way to start fresh. Hopefully you take this information, utilize it for the rest of the semester.